Yo guys, this is a little tutorial on how to rig up a sort of like a centaurish type thing, and we're going to do Rapid Rig Modular for this. This is mostly just to cover some sort of basics for the modular script, and I'll show you what that's like. So let's open up that script. We're just going to do the lazy method of opening with Notepad. And then I'm going to do Control A to select everything, Control Copy, Control C, in other words. I'm going to go back into open up my script editor. And it's going to take a while to open because it's pretty slow. Usually I close this panel up if I'm working in Maya a lot. But of course I'll have to keep it open if I'm doing some scripting. But you just pop that in there and then press the double play button up here. And that's going to open up our, see how long it took to close to. It's a big boy. Alright, so I'm going to move the pivot. So I'm going to hold D and X to snap to grid. Get that right in the middle right there. Boom. Alright, I'm going to save my file. Right there. Alright, so first step, I believe, I'm going to keep this down to 3. I'm going to generate the first spine. So I'm going to do create new proxy rig. And then I'm going to just use L and R for the prefixes for the left and right side of the model. So I'm going to scale this overall controller down a little bit. Alright, and you'll see that this is our main control in here. This will be like the root of all of your controls. And then you can go in here. I'm going to start this with a horse back or spine. And I'm just going to keep it at 3. And I'll do create module. Oh, we need to select that. And I'm going to kind of move this. I wonder if I can select this inner ring. No. I'm going to move this to be rotated this way. I believe I can scale these down. So I'm going to make this basically the back sort of base of the spine of our horse. Then I'm going to click that top node, and you can start kind of adding on controls for this. So let's create the other spine. So I'll do human spine and create, and you'll see that it became parented to that little node right there. And then I'm just going to rotate that to be straight up. I'm going to position this, and then I'm going to click this top one. I'm going to do create arm. And you'll see it's basically just divided into a bunch of different sections here, and this pretty much covers everything that you would need because it'll make FK chains and all that stuff, and like for like tentacles and toes and stuff and hair. And you got leg options, and then the one that we're most concerned with are these like 2 knee joints and like 2 elbow joints. These are just regular elbows or arms, so I'm just going to leave this at 1 elbow joint. And then these twist joints adds little. It's going to between the shoulder and the elbow. It's going to make some additional joints that will help sort of the deformation of it, but I find those to not be necessary for our purposes. We're just going to go with a very basic type of rig here. I'm just going to do arm, and I'm going to deactivate tune arms, and let's do just a pair rather than left and right. I'll create those arms. You'll see that they snap in there. You'll see this is the clavicle, so I'm going to keep this in pretty close. And let's see. Yes. So there's this create menu and there's this edit menu. And these are, I believe, if you generate the piece with too few like joints or something, you can always go in here and apply the edits to the arm in there. And yeah, but I'm looking for a way to mirror this. Yes. So it's the same as the Rapid Rig Advance, where it has these buttons right here. It's in step 2.6, where you can just do left to right. So looking at your model, this would be mirroring from his left to the right is what we're going to need because we're posing the left side. So let's pose the rest of these up right here. I'm going to drag this in the proper spot. I'm just going to move both those controls up. Very nice. Alright, left to right. You'll see that these ones snapped into position. Wait, did they? I think you might have to select them. I'm going to deselect the mesh. There we go. And then what we're going to do is create some legs on here. So I'm going to click this triangle because this is going to attach to the top of that spine. And we're going to create it with, I believe, one leg joint. I think the front horse legs are regular, somewhat. They're kind of weird. I don't know. This will be a dealer's choice, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Because they have like really long. You can see. I'm looking at some skeletons. They have like the back ones. We definitely need 3 on, because like comes out and then like 1, 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, yeah. All right, so oops, that's the wrong line. Let's make these back legs first. See how it goes. Right there. And then 2 knee joints. I'll do back legs. And we're going to do a pair. I'm going to deselect 2 legs. Then we do create leg. And you'll see that it puts 2 in there. And I can kind of move this in. Simply done. Move this further in. You might run into some problems with, I should do this top one first because that moves the bottom as well. If your legs aren't straight, you might run into some problems with posing these in the right spot because these different controls. Oh, I see. Yeah. So we move this one down. Move it forward. You might run into some problems because you need these arrows to be pointing pretty much straight forward and back in terms of animation. Because if this arrow is pointing off to the left, like this one right here, if this arrow is pointing off to the left over here, then when you raise the leg, it would automatically pull up in that left direction, and that's not what we want for our animation purposes. So I'm going to get these into the right spot, and then it has a little toe control here. I'm just going to scale all this down because we don't need that much postability in here. I'll move this up. Move this as well to be at that knee sort of area. And then I believe this is what, the toe? Yep. ball of the foot. I'm just gonna leave it right there. And right there. And then this, I believe, is the roll. Yeah, the roll control. So this would go on the outside of like whatever hoof you have here. I don't have a detailed enough model to even have a hoof, so I'm just gonna move these to where approximately they would be. This would be at the very back of whatever hoof or foot you have there. There you go. Very nice. And then I'm going to select these and then do left to right just to get that other leg into position. Very nice, very nice. And let's look at that picture again. So this is the third. This is the third joint, second joint, first joint. Okay. Which way do these bend when they're running though? One second. Let me get some reference in here. For skeleton running. Okay. So yeah, these ones bend backwards. Yeah, but these ones bend forwards. Yeah, that makes sense. So these, I think we can get away with using just a regular leg then. That's really interesting. Yeah. Wow. And maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. So I'm just gonna go in. Let's go for the 2-leg joints. Let's do front legs on the name. You can always rename them by doing this, like selecting one of the modules, one of these things, then putting in the new name in here, then do rename select module, and it'll go through and change those names. Let's do front legs, and then how did it create these ones? Okay. So let's create leg. And then there's that in the actual skeleton. There is that first joint up here. 2, 3. Okay. So we're going to, instead of keeping this forward, we're going to rotate it to be 90 or 180 degrees back, and then that way you can kind of bring out this front one. Yeah, there we go. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's a brain puzzler for a while. And then these ankles, I'm going to hopefully have anatomically better ankles than this. But yeah, these would all just go to different points on the hoof, like exactly like the back ones. There we go. Then let's select all that. Then do left to right to pop that other one in. Very nice. And then next step, I believe we would make a neck. We're going to put that here. I don't like many joints in the neck just because, like, you don't really need to pose them as much. So I'm just going to make that a 2 and see if we can get away with it. So I'm going to do, you cannot attach to a parent node. Oh, okay, I see. Because this is a little square. This is the one that is attaching the arms to this spine. We need to click this spine node right here. So I'm going to do create neck. And you'll see this is the top of the neck. Alright, so I'm going to make the head now. And you'll see in here, has a little head, so head. And it's going to give us a little jaw in there, so I'm going to create head. And this is that jaw pivot that it's going to go around. And this is just a little tip control. I'm going to move this one to the very top of the head. Just line that up. I'm going to do V to snap to vertices, just to make that for sure. And then I'm going to create some eye joints. So I'll create a look at, and I'm going to click the top head because I want it to rotate with the head. And we're going to move these down. And we move them in a little bit. Boom, bang, right there. And then when you're, hopefully you'd have a more detailed model. And if you do, and you have spherical type eyes, you're going to want to center this to the center of that sphere by using V and snapping to the different verts on that sphere one axis at a time. That way you'd align Z, then X, and then Y, and then you'd be perfectly in the center of that sphere, and when it rotates it would not be off center or anything. So I'm going to mirror these left to right. There we go. So that's pretty set up. Now we got to do the hands. I say a lot. That's not good. I think I should change that. Whatever. Be yourself, you know. So I'm gonna name this hand. Or rather, probably fingers. And then I'm going to click this. I'm going to do 5 chains, 1 for each finger. And then you'll see, since I had that mirror module box selected, it automatically was like, okay, we know exactly where this is going. Actually, I'm probably gonna trick you guys and delete that. Because I'm thinking if one of these is called, because this would be the 5th finger or the thumb, right? But I kind of want that to be named thumb, just because I'm like, dealer's choice on that one. I feel like I'll just roll with this for now, just because it's simpler. But then we're just gonna go in. I'm gonna scale these down, and then we're gonna start posing them inside those hands. Perfect. And there we go. There we go. Now you want to keep these all the center of mass for these fingers at each joint. So you want to keep checking your different perspectives and getting that to line up nicely. And I'm moving each of these to the knuckles. Right there. Boom, bang. I'm gonna rotate that. Scale this down. Right there. Perfect. Then I move this back. It's gonna be really boring. It's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna scale this down to start because it just made it super huge. And I'm gonna move this one around, this one back. Very, very dope. I'm just gonna scale both these at the same time, you know. Hopefully it saves some time. I'm going to keep moving these around, keeping them at the center of, because like I have these like 3 span setups on these fingers, so I know like where I want these to end up. That's looking good. you'll probably take a little bit more care going through this part of the process than I am. I know I would when I'm doing my final model. I just want to get through this a little bit quicker, you know. Don't want to waste everyone's time aligning these stupid things. Perfect. All right, and then select that bad boy, and then we're gonna do mirror left to right. Boom. Perfect. Perfection. And like I said before, this edit modules menu has a bunch of different options. If you like lost your place somewhere like you made like when we were making the horse front leg, if you use the one knee joint instead of the two knee joint, you probably want to be like, okay, I need to go in and change that. But let's see how this generates then. So I'm gonna go to generate rig, and then I believe we just generate modular rig. Before I do that, I'm gonna save as Horseman rig just to make sure. Because we still have the modules all open right here. We can still mess around with them. So I wouldn't want to mess anything up with that. And then generate modular rig. Boom. It's generating. Oh, it's thinking real hard. Oh, it's building all them legs. Oh, this is so sick. I love this. I love it. Oh. Oh. Okay, so it's asking, do you want to generate a single joint hierarchy? And that's for just video games. That way you can export to them, because if you don't, there'll be some free-floating joints in here. I think it's particularly in the spine that lets you get a stretchier spine in Maya, but we're not doing that. We're not going to be using this in a game environment. So I want you guys to just click no on this. And oh, it also has yes and create joint at origin. Normally in video games, you have a joint at the origin and world space, so you can always see your world space position, and they usually apply sorts of like movement values, like when you're pressing forward and stuff, to that joint. So that's what that's for. But I'm gonna click no because we don't need that, and then we have all the joints in there. So I'm gonna select skinning joints. I'm going to make this radius a little bit smaller so it's not as insane. Let's see, how does this control? For hands, if you don't want to pose with this, you can always go into the arm switch and then type in 0 in the IKFK to activate IK controls. Yeah, it's looking like it's holding up pretty well. How are these feet doing? Yeah, okay. Very nice. Very nice. This is so dope. This is so dope. Alright, select skinning joints. Boom. This is always the last step. Once you get these things, once you have these things where you want them, or like if when you click generate modular rig, they all popped up where you wanted them. If they didn't, you probably have to go back and probably rebuild this rig. Oh, you might be able to delete any control of your rig with that. That's pretty cool. You'd probably have to rebuild this rig if you moved any of those proxies around after you created it. But I would say just get your proxies in the right spot before you commit to doing the generate rig. And so we select our skinning joints, and then we select our mesh, and then we go to rigging. Remember skin, bind skin. I always do geodesic voxel because it's always it's like the newest algorithm for skinning stuff. You'll see it does a lot of processing, and then there we go. And we should have a Horseman. Hell yeah. Whew, guys, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. Oh, I forgot the tail, but the tail you would just make by adding an FK chain. And you'd reduce this to 1 chain. That way it doesn't make 5 like it did for the hand. And then, oh, yeah, it has little control. So you can select all of these. Ooh, that's fancy. That's fancy schmancy, guys. And then you can just straight up curl those hands. Horseman's ready to go, guys. I don't know about you. Horseman is ready to go, though. This is so sick. I love this script. This script is like the best script ever. Please, please, please buy it when you get the chance. The creator's probably the biggest brain boy ever for making this thing. It's so awesome. The only step left would be to skin it, like see how your chest is crumpling on the side here. Like what you'd want to do is ideally go back in and repaint skin weights in order to keep that dimension. These are your clav controls. You can kind of rotate up to get some shruggy shoulders. And you can have this follow different spaces on your character. Like right now they're in the main, so if I move this, or whoops, if I move this, it moves that with it, but you can make it any of these other ones that you saw in here. You can make it follow all those different ones. Yeah, there's so many cool different controls. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the basics of this. Here's where your eyes are pointing. Here's the head turn. This is the neck top. And this is the neck middle. Yeah, no, this is the best. This is the best, guys. If any of you are making anything that's going to need 2 knee joints in there instead of 1, this is perfect. This is a perfect script for that. If anyone out there needs like two elbow joints as well, like freaking go for it, you know. Like, this is the best script for it. But yeah, so hope this was somewhat informative. It's pretty basic explanation of these, but yeah, and looks like they have like a quick. Oh, yeah, a bunch of other stuff in here. That's awesome. All right, see you guys.